Rent came, bills came, then eviction came. Elias sold what he could, then what mattered, then what was left. For a while, he slept on friends' couches, then on floors, then in places no one was meant to sleep, an abandoned stairwell, behind a supermarket, near a bus station that smelled like rain, smoke, and old fear. He learned what hunger does to pride, how cold makes your bones feel older than your age, how people look past you when your clothes stop proving your humanity. Days became survival math. Where to wash, where to hide, how to stay awake enough not to be robbed, how to carry shame without letting it crush your lungs. At night, he replayed the same thought. I failed him, not because he lost the money, because he believed the wrong person. One winter night, after 3 days without real food, Elias collapsed beside a closed church wall. The city was silent in that cruel way cities can be when no one is coming. His hands were trembling, his lips were dry, his eyes were half open, staring into nothing. That was when he heard footsteps, slow, familiar, impossible. He looked up, and there, under the weak yellow streetlight, stood his father. Not young, not glowing like a fantasy, just as Elias remembered him. Work jacket, tired eyes, strong hands, the face of a man who had carried more than he ever said. Elias stared, too weak to run, too broken to question it. You look like you've been fighting alone, his father said. Elias began to cry so hard his body folded around the sound. They took everything, he whispered. I lost it. I lost what you left me. I ruined it. His father stepped closer. The wind moved through him strangely, like he belonged to two worlds and neither fully claimed him. No, he said. They took money. They did not take what I was trying to give you. Elias shook his head. You left me a future and I let someone steal it. His father knelt in front of him. When I worked those years, I was not only saving money, I was teaching heaven what kind of man I wanted my son to become after pain found him. Elias looked at him through tears. I did not leave you your life, his father said quietly. I left you proof that you come from someone who endured. That night, the ghost did not magically fix everything. He did not hand Elias a hidden bank account. He did not punish the scammer in a flash of divine justice. Instead, he gave him instructions. Stand up tomorrow. Wash your face. Go to the legal aid office on 8th Street. Ask for the woman named Miriam. Tell the truth without shame. Stop calling yourself stupid for being wounded. And do not trust polished kindness over proven character again. Then his father said something Elias would remember for the rest of his life. Being deceived is not the same as being foolish. Good hearts are often targeted because they still believe people mean what they say. Your lesson now is not to become cold. It is to become discerning. By morning, the streetlight was empty, but Elias stood up, and for the first time in months, he moved like someone following a voice instead of running from an ending. He went to the legal aid office. There was a woman named Miriam. At first, she said recovery would be difficult. Most of the money was gone. The documents had been manipulated through layered fraud. The scammer had used grief like a weapon, but not all was lost. A small part of the estate had been flagged.